Okay guys, so this is where we are currently. So we have our triangle object. Let me just remove that, put it back later. Our triangle class with two attributes or fields, base and height. Now what we want to do is to get the area of this triangle object. So we can do that through a method. Remember, methods are ways that objects communicate with other objects, pass information or get information from other objects. So what we want to do is declare a method called getArea. Now this method will return double. Okay, so what we want it to return is the value of our computation of base multiplied by the height multiplied by half or 0.5. Great. Okay, now the question we have next is how are we going to pass the values to our base and the height. One way we can do this is via a constructor. A constructor is a method which is called when you declare an object, and it is used to initialize the object. It has the same name as the object and no return type. So this is our triangle constructor. This is a default constructor. This is one which is provided by Java for all the objects. If you do not do anything, do not change the constructor, even if I don't declare it, it is called. However, what we want to do is override our constructor, that is change it. We're going to change it so that it accepts two parameters, one for the base and the other for the height. Okay, now what we want to do is that these values are going to be passed to the base of the object that we've declared. So that's why we use this. This stands for the object that has been declared, not in the class but the object. So we're passing the value of base to the base of the object. Same for the height. Is equal to height. Okay, so this is our constructor. Remember, the constructor has got the same name as the class and no return type. Okay, so we have our default constructor there. This is a default constructor which takes no parameters and does absolutely nothing. So this one is called by default. However, we have specified another constructor which has two parameters, base and height. Okay, so in our case we'll be interested in calling this constructor. So as you can see in Java, it is allowed to have more than one constructor as long as those differ in the parameters that you pass. Okay, so now let's get going, shall we? So let's declare our class, our method main, which is our entry point into the code. So we'll say public static void main string x, like that. Okay, now what we want to do is to declare a triangle object equal to new triangle. So you see, sorry, I forgot the actual object there. So this triangle is our object that we've declared. Now you've seen what we call when we say new triangle, this is what we're actually calling, but we don't want to call that constructor, we want to call this constructor. So we're going to pass it values, explicit values. So I'll pass 10 and 5. Okay, so what we've done here is that by the fact that we've supplied values to our constructor there, 10 and 5, we are calling this constructor there. Okay, so the values that we pass explicitly are called arguments. So our actual arguments are 10.0 and 5.0. These declared here in the head, these are called parameters. Okay, great. So we're now ready to display the area. So what we do is simply output a message, say the area of triangle with base O. So let's get triangle there, and using the dot notation we said base plus and height O. So again we use our dot notation to access the value of the height, equal to, so triangle, and we call get area. Okay, great. So let's compile this and see whether it works. Compilation successful, and there we have it. The area of triangle with base of 10 and height of 5 is equal to 25. Great. So you've seen how you can use the constructor to initialize the value of base and height. However, more appropriately, you should use setters. Setters and getters are methods that are explicitly declared for the purpose of setting and getting the values of our methods, of our class fields. And the naming is that they have set, for example, set followed by the name of the field that we actually want to set the value of. For a set, the return type is void because we're returning nothing, and we're going to pass our value for base like we did with our constructor, like that. And this dot base is equal to base. Okay, so what this does is that it gets the value which is passed through the set base method and assigns it to the base of the object that we've declared. So that is a setup for the base. So let's put a setup for the height, double height, this dot height is equal to height. Okay, so these are setters, and as you've seen, we're using them to set the value of our base and height member variables. Interesting, we also have getters, which have almost the same naming, but only that they return a value. So we return double get base, and we don't pass anything to the getter. So what we simply do is return the base. Okay, same for the height, get height. Okay, let's say return this base. Okay, so our setters and getters are done. So we go back to our main method, and this time we're not going to pass any values. We're going to use the default constructor. Okay, now what we're going to do is use the set base and then pass our value there. Okay, and then use our set height, pass our value there. So you do remember why I'm using dot 5.0, 10.0. I'm putting a decimal point because I want to be sure that I'm actually passing a value instead of a double instead of an integer. Okay, so we have used the set base and set height to set the value of our member variables. So what this is doing is that it gets 10, this 10 you pass, and assigns it to the value of the base of the triangle, this triangle that we have declared. Now let's see if this works. So instead of accessing the base directly, we're going to use our getter there. Also there we're going to use our getter, so we'll get height like that. So using getters and setters is actually the recommended way of doing things. Now let's compile. Compilation successful. Let's execute. So the area of triangle with base of 10 and height of 5, height of 10. What have we done wrong? Height, get height, set height. We have our set base, set height. What have we done wrong this time? Let's try that again. Pile. Why is the height 10? base triangle get height is equal to get area. So triangle dot set height and this will set base, set height, this to height is equal to height get base. Oh, okay. So for get height, we're getting actually the base. So let's do the right thing there. Compile, execute. Okay, so the area of triangle with base of 10 and height of 5 is 25. Great. So you've seen how we can use setters to assign values to our base and height. Now let's see how we can capture user input, allow the user to specify values at runtime instead of putting them in our code, because our program isn't going to be much useful. A person would like to be able to enter the height and the base themselves so that they get the value. So what you do to use user input, we import our scanner, which is found in the utils, like that. So the scanner object is used to read user values, supplied values. So what we're going to do there is we're going to declare our object of type scanner, say new scanner, and pass this input string to our scanner constructor, meaning that what we're interested in the keyboard here, getting values from the keyboard. Then next I'm going to declare local variables base, initialize them. Remember always to initialize local variables. Excuse me. Then height. Okay. All right. So these variables are local to this method main and can only be seen within this method. And remember, local variables always have to be initialized because they do not have default values. Now to capture our user supplied value, first thing we do is we're going to prompt the user to say enter value for base, and then we're going to pass that value to our base variable. So we're going to use our scanner, then we say next double, like that. Do the same for the height. System out of print line enter value for height, and we say height is equal to scanner dot next double, like that. Now this time, instead of passing explicit values, we're going to then put our variables there, so that the values that we're going to pass to our triangle object are those that we have gotten from the user. Okay, so that's about it, and we're ready to run our program. Let's compile. Compilation successful. Let's execute. So you see, program is now waiting for user input, so I will put 50 there. For the height I would put 20. So the area of a triangle with a base of 50 and height of 20 is 500. Great, our program works and it's able to get user supplied values. So this is all for now. So in the next lesson we're going to talk a bit more about access modifiers and how these will affect our programming. Thank you.